Good morning, everybody. Aaron wanted to do a first thing in the morning video check idea. So our pallets are now finished. They've been running all night, and we come in the morning and we check them, and there's a bunch of tools that we check and a bunch of features that we check to make sure that the parts are good before they come off the machine. Otherwise they need to be reworked and, you know, holes opened up or things like that. Is this one holding pretty consistent, or?
It bounces around between a 5 thou range, it seems like.
5 thou?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I pointed it out. Or it's, you'll see.
Well, let me try it first. So the first thing we check is I use this. It's an end mill actually, but it's the exact perfect diameter that lets us check what we need. I would normally check the blades, which go right here. Except Barry came in a couple hours before me and already took the blades and already did this check. But this would go into the blade and check the pivot hole to be exactly the right tightness or looseness that we want. So that gets checked first on all the blades, otherwise the tool offset gets changed. Maybe it gets rerun again, but for the most part we never do. So that's the first check. Second check is this custom titanium gauge that we made using a stainless steel pin there and a stainless steel pin there, little green depth gauge, because we want just the silver part to disappear. So this is going to check the stop pin holes on the knife in the back there, and if the silver disappears and all you see is green, then we know the depth is right, and if the diameter is good, it'll go all the way down, otherwise it won't. We've had some tool chipping problems in that hole, so this is a quick little verify to know if the hole is good or if it needs to be recut. So basically it does all these ones first, and then it'll go over and do all of these ones. So if the last one is good, they should all be good, but it's good to double check. Next one is our Frank Cox 440 thread gauge. You got your green and your red side, your go and your no-go. This is a 3B tolerance, which is super primo. So we check our thread milled holes with this guy. Make sure it goes all the way in. It's going like halfway in, half the threads. It should be going a little bit deeper, so I'm going to open up that thread. It's fine for now. Like these ones are fine, but I'm going to open it up maybe a tenth, maybe 2/10 for the next run. Yeah, I'm going to add 2/10. Should be good, should last for a little bit longer. Next thing is our depth gauge that my buddy Amish gave me. We're using this to check the bearing pocket depth on the handles. So I'm going to put it, you got to kind of align it so it doesn't hit anything else, like the blade on the side. Alright, so we're using the depth gauge. This hole is a tiny bit, which way is that? Not deep enough, but it is definitely within our range. What would be nice actually is to draw like a green zone on the gauge that says, you know, a good range. That would be cool. But that one's good. Nice little sanity check for all of these features. And then the last one we check is we take this pivot, which is a modified pivot, and we put it right into a pivot hole, and we kind of rock it down, make sure it's flush, feel it to make sure it's visually and like tactile flush. And then I think that is perfect, because if the end mill that does this profile chips, then the pivot won't sit flush, and then downstream when Eric and Yo are putting the knives together, they have pivot problems. So it's super good to check that while it's still in the machine, easy to fix again. And then I've got a little trick to get them out. We got these magnets here, pulls it right out. So for the most part, those are all the physical checks that we do on a knife. Next thing we do is I'll show you guys doing one blade, but I'll pull a blade bevel off the side, all the chips have to be blown off. But I give it a visual inspection, making sure that all the milled lines are perfect, there's no hiccups, there's no tearing or coolant issues or grossness. We want to make sure that they all look fantastically nice. Otherwise they need to be recut. This one looks perfect. And then we'll go through and we'll do that for every part of the pallet. And as parts come off, they get blown off and cleaned and then eventually washed in the sink. And every part gets inspected, you know, visually for scratches and weird things as we're pulling it off. But that's the morning routine. I'm gonna keep doing that, get this thing rocking.